All righty, cool beans. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the midweek fundamental and technical analysis. I am your guy, Mr. Levels, aka Pips, aka Hop, aka is up there. You know, tonight is the midweek analysis, and what I'm going to do is go back over the pre-week and the beginning of the one in the beginning of the week technical analysis. Carmen wasn't with us Monday. She's with us tonight. So um she will be giving us the fundamental analysis, midweek fundamental analysis tonight for all you guys who would love to broaden your knowledge about fundamentals. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into technical. So looking back at the pre-week analysis, I told you guys Sunday that I wanted to see how the market opened up relative to this volume imbalance, right? And I told you guys that I wanted to see price action close below that volume imbalance. And if we got that close, then I was expecting price to pull back down into last week's um, discount array, right? Those are the two levels that you see here, the discount arrays, and this lower level is the weekly sell side liquidity. And so Monday we got that close below, right? And Tuesday, yesterday, we got an aggressive push to run that upper discount array level, right? And we closed below it, which was confirmation enough that we were going to run that lower PD array level and run down and take out that sell side liquidity. So that's basically what I wanted to see and what I was anticipating. Um, I just needed to get the confirmations, and that confirmation was that close below that volume imbalance. And so we see how that played out. I showed you my trades on Monday night's call because being that I was bearish for Dixie to open the week. Um, I was bullish for futures to open the week. So tonight I'm going to take you back into E-mini S&P 500 and see how price played out from the pre-week analysis to Monday on up into today. So Monday night, I told you guys that um, I had gotten the move that I wanted to see, right? I told you on the pre-week analysis that I wanted to see price run buy side liquidity, right? My bias was to the upside. Um, However, I was anticipating a pullback down into this previous week's price range, right? And I told you guys that on the pre-week analysis, if we did pull down to the weekly PD array, that I would be expecting that to propel price to the upside, right? And I told you if we didn't pull back down to the weekly PD array, that I would be expecting price to just run Friday's buy side liquidity and the previous week's buy side liquidity, which is this blue level that we have here at 85.50. So this is the previous week's buy side liquidity. This yellow level is Friday's buy side liquidity. So once we blew through Friday's buy side liquidity, right, we ran straight into the next PD array. What is the next PD array? The next PD array is the most relative PD array going in your direction. What PD array would that be? That would be that would be Thursday's daily premium array, right? Because we already taken out Friday's buy side liquidity. So we're obviously above Friday's PD array, right? Discount array. So the next relative PD array would be Thursday's PD array. That's why you see these levels here. That's why you see these two levels here. This was Thursday's, this is Thursday's 62% premium array, and this is the 79% PD array, right? So now I'm going to take you down to the 4 hour to see um to get a better view at how price action played out going into uh Monday and Tuesday. So Monday we had that aggressive run of Friday's buy side liquidity. And we ran straight up into Thursday's 62 premium level, right? This was the executions that I made Monday off of that 62% level, right? Back down to this um, volume imbalance that we see here, right? Or should I say fair value gap from this upward move. The fair value gap that was created during this upward move, right? I took that sell back down. That was my 10 o'clock silver bullet. If you notice the time at the bottom of the screen on the crosshair, it is 10 o'clock. I showed you guys that execution on Monday night's call. So, with that being said, as I told you guys on Monday night, I had reached my weekly goal according to my trading plan and my goals. So I would be tape reading for the rest of the week. But however, my bias remained bullish because my bias was to see last week's buy side liquidity ran. So the confirmations that you would be looking for, right? Once we see Friday's buy side liquidity ran, we want to see this 62% level broken through aggressively as well, right? And so we see that break happen here, right? And then we see price unwilling to close back below that 62% level, right? All of these things you need to be paying attention to because all of these things are indications that price is willing or wants to go higher, right? I like to tell people that take my mentorship that price action literally talks to you. It tells you exactly what it wants to do. You just have to pay attention. So when we see this breakthrough of that 62% premium level and we see price for the next 8 hours unwilling to close below that 62% premium level, that's price telling you that it wants to continue higher. And being that that lines up with the analysis of being bullish and running last week's buy side liquidity, those are confirmations. So for me, once I see this, that's my confirmation that price is going to continue to the upside. And so we see with the news that came out yesterday, price sliced through that 79% level and ran straight up to run the previous week's buy side liquidity, right? And so I'm gonna take you down to the hour time frame, right? And right here at 8 o'clock, you can see price pull back into that fair value gap that was created right here, right? Price pulled back at 8 o'clock pre-market and just continue to run higher with that news. Like I said, we sliced straight through that 79% premium level and ran straight up into last week's buy side liquidity. Um, Now, when we ran through that 79% premium level, we also created another fair value gap and imbalance in the market. So I want to take you down to the 15-minute time frame now. And you can see how price sliced through that 79% level, right? And gave us a little pullback right here into this fair value gap that we created after closing above the 79% level. So I'm taking you all the way down so you can see what price is doing from the weekly all the way down to the minute time frame. So this is the 5 minute, right? And remember, I trade the silver bullet, right? Time-based trader, rule-based trader are only trading from 10 to 11, right? So if I'm in the market this morning trading, which I wasn't, but if I was, then I'm looking at this pullback at 10.10, right? Because it's within my silver bullet time range, right? And it's pulling back down into what? A fair value gap. For you guys that know about the silver bullet model, you know that the silver bullet is basically traded from fair value gap to fair value gap or to a area of liquidity, right? Whether that be buy side liquidity or sell side liquidity, right? So being that the target was the previous week's buy side liquidity, right? This blue line right here at 85.50, the previous week's high, right? This entry would have been taken here, silver bullet entry, targeting that 85.50 level for last week's buy side liquidity. You would have had another opportunity to enter right here if you wanted to pyramid, right? We're still within the silver bullet time frame. We get a pullback down into what? Another fair value gap, right? And price just runs right up into that previous week's buy side liquidity, right? And that should be a wrap for most people or anybody who was trading this morning because that was good pippage. I mean, 24, 25, 24 handles, 95, 96 handles. I mean, that's pretty good for a day's trading session. So I'm going to take you down to the 1 minute so you can see how price played out on the 1 minute time frame. We see that 10 o'clock candle here, and we see price come back down into that fair value gap here, here, giving you multiple opportunities on the silver bullet. And then we had that second pyramid entry right here, giving you another opportunity on the silver bullet up to buy side, previous week's buy side liquidity. And that was a trading morning, you guys. This afternoon, I mean, sorry, yesterday afternoon was very consolidated. We didn't get a lot of movement, even though there is money to be made out of there. Uh, Once we broke through that buy side liquidity, we want to start paying attention to the next relative PD array, which would be the blue shaded area that we see right here, which is a 4 hour fair value gap. And that red line that you see right there is consequent encroachment of that 4 hour fair value gap. So once we seen this buy side this previous week's buy side liquidity ran, right, and we seen how aggressively it pushed through it and closed above it, that consequent encroachment is the next relative PD array that you would be targeting, right? And we see price push through that as well, and come back and retest that consequent encroachment. Notice how the body's respecting it. And we push right up into the next relative PD array, which would be this old weekly fair value gap. That is what this is, old weekly fair value gap. If I take you back to the weekly time frame, we see that fair value gap right here. And we pushed up into that. Now, going forward for the rest of the week, I'm going to take you down to the daily. What I am anticipating out of the market this week, well, first, let's go back to the dollar. Right now, I'm neutral. I'm on the sideline because I don't know which way um, price action is. I just don't know. And when I'm like this, I have to sit on the sideline because I just don't know. So I'm not afraid or not ashamed to not know what's going on in the market, because the truth of the matter is nobody knows. We can anticipate it, we can have our analysis, but nobody really knows. So what I am anticipating, right, is for price to give us a pullback up into yesterday's premium array, right? And if I take and put my fib on yesterday's price range, right, and I mark yesterday's premium arrays, you'll notice they sit inside of what? They sit inside the weekly PD arrays that we just pushed through, right? Because these two levels here are the weekly PD arrays that I wanted to see price come back down to and retest, right? So yesterday's premium arrays sit within those PD arrays. So I'm expecting price to do a few things, right? We could see price push back up and retest that lower level of the weekly PD arrays that we just broke through in this daily order block, right? And we can see price run to the downside from there to this daily buy side and fair value gap, right? Or we can see price run all the way back up to retest the 79% level of yesterday's premium price range, right? And we can see it run reverse from there and run to the downside. Or we can see it blow through all of that and come back up to retest this volume imbalance that we pushed through this week, right? So what I want to see is how price plays out through the rest of Asian markets tonight and going into London, right? Whether we get an aggressive break above this level, right, or below this sell side liquidity. And then I have more of um, an idea of what it is that price wants to do. So, excuse me. So with that being said, going back to ES, I do, well, let me go back to the dollar right quick. Gun to head analysis, right? If I just had to say what my bias is, right? As the mentors say, gun to head bias. I am expecting the dollar to run lower into this daily fair value gap. So that's my gun to head bias. I would like to see price continue lower and run this daily fair value gap. But I am anticipating a pullback up into these premium levels that we just pushed through. Well, yesterday's premium level and this lower premium level that we pushed, the weekly PD array that we pushed through. So that's my gun to head bias for the dollar. So with that being said, my gun to head bias for ES is to the upside. I would like to see us run this consequent encroachment, right? We have a 4 hour liquidity void here. You can't see it because we're on the daily, but I'm going to take you down to the 4 hours so you can see that. But however, we left this big imbalance here between these two levels that I want to see price fill in, that I'm anticipating price to fill in to close the week. So if I go down to the 4 hour time frame, you will see that volume imbalance there, right? And the volume, I'm sorry, not volume imbalance, void, liquidity void, right? And liquidity void is when price is um the market is void of price action, right? There's no price action in between two spaces, right? So there's no price between this high and this low. So that is a liquidity void. And that's where I'm anticipating price to run to close the week, because being that our bullish price action has played out, right, according to the pre-week analysis and, the beginning of the week analysis, um, um, that's where I think price is being drawn to, right? We're being drawn up or magnetized up to that liquidity void area, right? So that's my gun to head bias for ES. I will be paying attention throughout the rest of Asia and going into London, whether we can break above this weekly consequent encroachment and close above it, right? Or whether we break back below this 4 hour consequent encroachment to the downside and close below it. Depending on which way price does go between those two levels, that will give me um, my confirmations on where price is going to miss. If we close below this consequent encroachment, I expect price to fill in this imbalance that we created yesterday with yesterday's news, right? And potentially come back down to retest Thursday's PD arrays, right? And then we'll see how price action reacts to those levels. If we close above this consequent encroachment, then I expect us to go ahead and run up to that liquidity. So that will conclude the midweek technical analysis. At this time, I will pass it over to Carmen so she can give us the midweek fundamental analysis. Anybody who has any questions about technicals tonight, you can go ahead and drop it in the chat, and I'll be answering questions while Carmen is doing her thing. It is all yours, Carmen. Bear with us, guys. Carmen is in Senegal. She's traveling, so I don't know if her reception is coming in well enough for her to do fundamentals tonight. Give me one moment. Okay, guys, cool beans. Corman, she's not gonna be able to join us tonight. Um, it is what it is. Chalk it up to the infrastructure. Um, but as always, I would just like to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, tuning in, getting this knowledge and empowering yourselves. Let your family and friends know you love them while they still here, please. And as always, peace and love, everybody.
You know